りなさいませ。ご主人様、お嬢様。Welcome back home to Masters and Princess. Don't forget, okay? ようこそバンドメイドのお給仕へ。
うるさいな。
お酒を飲んだとき、それぞれのメンバーがどうなるかと。
お酒が大好きです。バンドメイドの茜のドラ
花見 is Japanese hentai. You must join.
Bonjour à tous and welcome to Podcast, the first podcast about BAND-MAID that you must join. And believe me, you don't want to piss off Nico. I'm Orange and I will be your host for this new series of podcasts with special guests. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. For the first episode, I chose my guest very carefully because he's the one and only Kasper Michaels, the voice of the channel.
Ohayo, konnichiwa, konbanwa.
Hello Kasper, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good today. It's always good to talk about BAND-MAID. They always make me happy. You can be having a bad day and you just throw on a bit of stuff. And
yeah, and it's not like we talked for 2 hours yesterday and I was not recording my voice. So.
Well, we'll see if we're going to go over some same stuff again. But again, I like talking about BAND-MAID. So
yeah, so let's talk about you first, not BAND-MAID, right? So let us know, who are you, what do you do, everything we can know.
A little bit about me. I'm originally from Canada. I'm a voiceover actor. I originally started as an ice hockey player. I was drafted to the Chicago Blackhawks when I was 16 years old. And 2 weeks after I was drafted, I was hit by a motorcycle and sort of wrecked my neck and my back and my knee, destroyed my knee. But that's actually that decision. Like, I have a lot of people come up to me, particularly Canadians, who say, "Wow, you could have been famous." I'm like, I can still be famous. But in Canada, you're raised sort of to be that thing. And I realized at the time what it was I was really good at ice hockey, but I wasn't really enjoying it. I didn't enjoy the politics of the show, the big show, and all the stuff that was going on. And so I ended up training to be a teacher for a while, and then by accident, I fell into acting, and I became an actor, moved to Vancouver, and I was an actor for 25 years. I've been in like X-Files and Highlander, and, Reaper, Smallville, all those little things. And then I did an animation cartoon called Hot Wheels, and I thought I played the character of Gig, who was a robot, and I thought, this is what I would like to do. This is really good. Then I met a lovely girl from the Isle of Man, and we got married in Canada, but then we moved here to the UK. And since I moved here to the UK, I still kept with the acting thing. I did some plays and a feature film and things, and I met some very talented, very lovely, very well-trained out-of-work people. There's a lot of really good actors here, and I just thought, this is going to be tough. And when you move countries, you're basically starting again. Unless you're an A-list actor, you're starting from the bottom of the thing. And I had a bit of a hiccup with my agent. She, right after I did my feature film, she basically dropped 85% of her clientele. She became a boutique agency. So there was a lot of us who were out there sort of in the winds searching for agents and stuff, and I went, you know what, I'm going to try this voiceover thing. And so in 2010 I went and got my demo reel with a gentleman by the name of Peter Morris, who's a lovely man, and he's still my agent to this day. So it's been a very good run. And how that leads into BAND-MAID was I saw I became a BAND-MAID fan December 2020, so probably I couldn't tell you the exact date, but it was the live version of Freedom that sucked me right in, and a Kane smile that got me going. And as a result, though, I then saw a reactor video, Wave Potter, and he was doing basically a Discord marathon for you. I'm not sure, but he was basically saying, sign up to the BAND-MAID Discord.
Oh,
sign up to the
yeah.
BAND-MAID
Yeah.
Discord.
He did
And
that
I didn't
a few
even know there
times.
was one. And I thought, well, I'll sign up for this thing. And then I logged in and I went, and I contacted you right away. And I just went, I wonder who's the moderator? Orangi. Okay, I'll send him a message. And I sent you a message saying, hey, I'm a professional voiceover artist. If you've got anything, let me know.
I remember that.
Which I remember thinking, he probably thinks I'm a nut. But
I actually was.
Well, because at the same time, it's such an odd thing. Not everyone, I'm in my profession, not everyone realizes they need a voiceover artist until they do. And they're like, where do I find one? It's not something that everybody does. So when I was an actor and I tell people I'm an actor, it was cool. I mean, people would go, oh, what have I seen you in? You always get that. So, but when I tell people I'm a voiceover artist, they usually go, oh, what is that? What do you do? And so you kind of have to go into explaining the stuff that's where you hear voiceover people all the time, like any tannoy in a supermarket, any commercial on the radio is voiceover, and from there I've been lucky enough to be working with. I've worked with Discovery and Disney and Gucci and Sony, lovely people. But my favorite stuff is things like this, where I can help people like you tell stories about BAND-MAID, or there are people out there that need their stories told, because they just make the world a better place. And BAND-MAID is really one of those. It sounds kind of cliche-ish, but they're one of those groups where I've never been involved with a group that likes their fans so much, and they do so much for their fans. And also, their fans do a lot for the band. Like there's like a mutual admiration society that works really well. You see a lot of bands out there who don't really care about their fans, and they just do the shows, and that they either get too big or they do whatever. They don't want to talk to their fans. And BAND-MAID just seems like they keep us involved in what they're doing, and it's really cool. And they're always evolving. So I'm very happy to have gotten involved with these documentaries, because it's been quite a show. They've in the last 10 years.
Yeah, a couple of years. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I remember your first message. I was like, what's going on? That's why the first thing I remember, I asked you about what did you do, so I can hear your voice and what you were doing. And
that's right. I gave you a link to my webpage.
Exactly.
You went, okay, this guy's legit.
That's exactly that. But
I think it was some stuff I was doing for Discovery or something.
Yeah.
Went, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what was our first? Was it the documentary you decided? I think we did a couple things before that.
I don't know if we did something before the documentary.
I can't even remember, but I think the first documentary with Saiki, that was the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I remember the excitement from the community as well, the Discord community, because they were like, what is this new thing? And then the fact that everyone learned things about Saiki that they didn't know before, because BAND-MAID fans seem very well informed. They seem to know a lot about, like, you'll have somebody will comment, oh, Akane dropped her phone in the toilet today. It was on Instagram. and you're like, what? Where are? I don't even. That's the type of stuff that I don't really need to know about the band. Like that, really, really personal stuff. I don't care. But when they get on with their fans, like, and they let us know what's going on, that's the stuff I like to know. But finding out that about her parents and her singing and stuff was great.
Yeah. But they are the ones. They are one band sharing a lot of stuff during interviews. I mean, I don't think that I've ever been looking for information about bands before, but it's so easy to find so many translated articles thanks to the community. So
very much so, and it's the thing about this community. It also seems really like it's really global. Like you can tell by when you have people like Tishinji-san and Hoji-san who translate stuff really quick, and Neron who jump in there really quick. But then you've got there's that Scandinavian group, and then we've got our cellist. He's and he's putting stuff in, and wearing his banana, and you're like, it's a weird community, but it's also everyone seems to there doesn't seem to be any animosity, or there's the occasional tiff in the Discord that you see, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the problem with text is emotions are never conveyed, so you don't know if somebody's making a sarcastic comment or something. But for the most part, the fans are really understanding of each other, and from all the stuff I've seen from the live cams and all that kind of the fans really seem to like look out for each other to make sure that are you doing all right, giving away tickets, giving away stuff, like, would you like my ticket because you look like you've never seen the show before. Go, like, that's like, who does that, so
there is a lot going on in the community.
So I think that's fantastic.
I agree.
So
I think that we are one of the best communities I've ever seen.
Because I've been fans of other bands, but I've never been involved in a group like this where sort of the fans talk to each other, and the fans actually reach out to each other, and they ask, they see how everyone's doing, and then you've got the guy who does the MIDI stuff.
Dean.
Yes.
Dean.
Thank you. Yes. And I don't know why, because his stuff is, again, that's amazing. That's a lot of work, but it's also helps if somebody wants to do maybe covers, because he's already separated it down into segments, and you can learn how to play, and you can actually take those MIDI files and convert that into scores. Like if somebody reads music, and I think we've got there's a lot of different, I imagine there's like doctors and lawyers and stuff in there.
For sure.
There's all different types, but there's a lot of different talents in there. And even like I really liked it when you got the covers together, like the cover bands all doing that. That was a neat little run for a while where people were just doing different songs. Now with all these new songs, I would love to hear, like covers of Tamaya or even Brightest Star. Brightest Star is a really good one too.
We did the short cover for the Pigeon Dreams of Singing. We did it for the opening. Even before the studio version was released, so it was a lot of work to find out what was going on from the live version to convert it into a recording for the guitars and the drums. But unfortunately I don't have that much time to work on those covers anymore. I used to run them and try to recruit people to play some songs, to cover some songs, but it's not. I don't have that time anymore. I'm just working on too many different projects.
Well, that's what happens, and then you look and see even the ladies have gotten busy as well. They've given us a new album, so
exactly. We can dive into the news then. Then we have already started to talk about BAND-MAID. So I know that a lot of YouTube channel already covered it, but one of the big announcements, apart from the release of their new album called Epic Narratives, is that BAND-MAID will become independent from their previous management company, and their new management company is called Made It, which is, I think for me it's a good play on the word. I really like.
I think it's fantastic. They do a really good job of pulling that MAID thing. I think the Westerners lose the fact that what they're doing with the MAID outfits is a bigger deal in Japan than we think just them cosplaying as maids. They're making a point. They're with the MAID outfits, and that and also it's the they still surprise people with they see them come out in their MAID outfits, and then when they start into the the harder songs, people go, wow, this is crazy. And for the Japanese people, from what I understand, it's that's still quite a juxtaposition. So the fact that they're sticking with Made It, we're doing this, they're still doing the world domination thing, I think that's fantastic. I was really excited to hear about it because I was wondering what would change. There was always lots of speculation about what will happen when you start managing yourself. But these days, from what I understand, watching other, reaction channels and watching other channels, Rick Beato, you listen to him chat, and he's talking about how independent artists, this seems to be the time of the independent artist, because the labels were getting too much into like, we just want money. I'm not sure if Platinum Passport was like that or anything like that, but as an indie label, you can make decisions that you would that a bigger label might think are counterintuitive or counterproductive. Whereas sometimes you just go, we just want to have fun, and somebody might go, well, there's not going to be a lot of money in that one. And you're like, well, are we going to break even? Can we do that? Let's do it. I mean, and the maids just seem to want to have fun in a way. Like you can see any live show you watch, they enjoy being there so much that there's other bands who look at live performances as like a chore. it's like, we got to tour.
They seem to really enjoy touring, and it's whenever they are not touring, they are always saying in interview that they just want to tour again and travel over the world. That's basically all they are saying. And moving from Platinum Passport to Medit, it looks like some of the stuff they worked with also moved with them,
which was a smart decision, and they probably and it makes you wonder if it was sort of a team effort where they and not like subterfuge or anything. They just went, you know what, we've worked with you for 10 years, and Platinum Passport. What happens with BAND-MAID is BAND-MAID isn't the only cookie in the jar with Platinum Passport. They've got lots of things going on, and maybe you see a band that wants to. BAND-MAID seems to do this all the time. They just go and they kind of do this thing where you gotta go, I didn't see that coming at all. And maybe Platinum Passport went, we're gonna let you do that if that's what you want. But it would probably be best if you went indie. And so they had some people come over with them. I don't know. See, I'm not involved with the whole thing.
From what I know, Platinum Passport had only BAND-MAID under them. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when BAND-MAID, it's Pony Canyon who had a lot of artists and a lot of batches. So they even, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Platinum Passport changed their name. And they also cut their relations with Pony Canyon. They are becoming a new company, independent as well. So,
well, there you go. It sounds like that maybe there was a mutual thing going on, and probably I think we'll see what happens from a. I tend not to look at music, the business side of music. I don't understand it at all. We might want to talk to you talk to people like Tank the Tech. Things like that, and for that type of stuff where they talk about the roadie stuff and the merch and see that, because that's some of the questions that will probably come up when you go indie, like what's happening with the merch, what's like, is it going to be more expensive now, or are they going to be able to maybe do different merch that's because there's so many things that you could do as a band that you put out, and who knows.
Yeah, I guess that we'll have to wait until at least next year to see what's going on.
But it feels like from a fan, it feels like a good decision.
Yeah. For sure. It's a really good decision to do that. Moving on to the release of Epic Narratives. Yes, the album has been released for a week now, more than that, right?
Absolutely fantastic.
I don't even know, because 2 weeks, all right. It's been released for almost 2 weeks already.
I mean, we talked about this the other day, but it feels like the album's been out longer because we have experienced some of the songs earlier. But in this instance, I don't feel like, because almost all the songs that we have experienced were associated with animes. So in many ways, Grandizer You, Protect You, way back, Shambles, they were kind of promoting the anime. So the songs, you didn't sort of forget about the songs, but you were like, oh yeah, they were promoting this and this. So it's up on their website and all this stuff. So when the album comes out, I didn't feel cheated that I'd already knew half the songs. It felt like that I'd already owned the album already, or I'd already experienced the album already. So that's kind of how I felt. Like I went, oh, they've been sharing this album with us. And so when I got my actual physical copy of the album, then the new songs were that much more of a surprise. And actually, surprisingly, 2 of the songs of the newer ones became 2 of my new favorites. And surprisingly enough, Bestie keeps. It's BAND-MAID for me is it depends what mood I'm in as what song is my favorite, which I think a lot of bands are like that. But Bestie kind of, because it's so not BAND-MAID, but it is. Like the lyrics are very BAND-MAID. The music is kind of laid back. It kind of gives you that sort of chemical reaction feel, which was, I know, a bit divisive, but at the same time, it's a really catchy tune, and it's really, when you start to just listen to it again, it kind of chugs along with it. It stays with you all day. And I thought, that's kind of in there. But I think we talked about this before. It's tough to have a top 5 with BAND-MAID. because songs keep moving up.
Yeah, it's just impossible. It's impossible to keep a top 5.
Exactly. So
I
think that when the new album came out, I was really happy about it. Now, the cover of this thing, Saiki is she is hilarious when she does her little videos. You saw, like I saw the Miku opening, and then I saw the Saiki opening. And Saiki, it's sort of like when she was talking about her shoes, or when she was talking about her designs of her t-shirts, she becomes she goes inside. She becomes almost like a little girl who's like, I'm very proud of this.
Look what I did.
Very much look what I did.
Yeah.
But she is, she's not just somebody that they let design their t-shirts. She's a talented graphic designer. Like she seems to, it's like she's had classes in a way, because she seems to know what she's doing.
Yeah.
Like there's a difference between art and graphic design, as a designer will tell you, because sometimes art doesn't transfer onto a t-shirt. Like it just won't work.
Yeah.
And the cover is, when she talked about how the cover tells the story of BAND-MAID, you kind of go, does it? And then she started pointing out parts of it, and you go, oh yeah,
that's this song, that this song.
Oh yeah, and then you're like, what? And then she's like, and this is Unleash, and you're like, oh yeah,
that's the same scene.
But so she put a lot. This isn't just a design. She put a lot of thought into this. The same way that, as the lyrics of Forbidden Tale, they put a lot of thought into what was going on with that song. Like as Konami said, that's another story of BAND-MAID. It's our progress. And then this one, it's not just even referencing the songs in this album. It references other stuff. Like you've got the Ferris wheel in the background, and the pentagram is really funny. All this stuff. But each has a meaning, and if you ask Saiki, you go, what does this mean? What does this mean? And the shambles of the volcano, and so much stuff is going on. And the tower, I'd love to hear the story of the tower. Why?
Yeah, because it was it was teased at the Yokohama Arena concert, so they are making.
Well, that's what I mean. But I would love to know why they decided on the tower. Although Saiki did say that what they're building, what she was building, is a city that's expanding.
Yeah.
And each part of the city tells the story. And I thought, that is just so cool. There's like a lot of work went into this, and for her fans. Like, so you could tell that she was doing this not just for her, but she's doing this so that because there's people out there who are going to find the Easter eggs in this, and they're going to go, which it's a cover.
They're not just making songs. They're so much more than that.
They're telling stories, and they're becoming very good at telling stories. Like they've always their covers have always been really cool. Like I think Just Bring It is the one where they're sitting at the table with the skull.
Yeah.
That's still one of my favorite covers today.
Oh yeah, I think it took me a very long time to get the actual illusion of this cover, because I never looked at it properly, and I never saw it. I think.
Yeah, I think it'll come up later, but the motif of the skull and the skeleton has always been with BAND-MAID, and I wonder why, because they treat it more the way that the Warning would. Like it's more of a celebration, like the way that the Mexican, Spanish people, when they talk about the Day of the Dead, is not a scary event at all. Yeah. And for BAND-MAID, it's not like, in many ways, like that picture there, it's a very cute picture, kawaii picture, but it's also, it's not scary, but it's sort of, it's like, why the skull? Like, why and you'll see later on when Saiki, with the new image, we can talk about that when that pops up.
exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, and to promote the release of Epic Narratives, they did a lot of radio shows, especially lastly with Saiki and Konami, which are the
holy crap! Yeah, they're doing.
the
It's
funny
almost
duo.
like. Is this more shows than they did in previous? It seems. Maybe it's because they're all so close together.
They did a lot of radio shows. Sometimes, as you can see, them more than one per day. Like sometimes three or four.
Yeah.
3 or 4
Well,
shows.
It's almost like they're doing the rounds. They're going from like they're doing it old school. Like this is how you promoted your stuff before.
Yeah.
It was like you went from radio station to radio station, and now with the age of like remote recording and things like that, you don't really have to do that. They could literally be sitting in a room somewhere and just Zoom connect to all these calls.
Yeah,
they really could, and it's radio. Nobody knows, but
that's right.
The fact that they're making the time and they're going and sitting with they get a different interaction with the DJs, and you can tell. And the first time the DJ, DJs who are familiar with BAND-MAID, they're the ones who go, konnichiwa po, like right away, like this is someone who's experienced Miku before.
Yeah.
And then when it was Konami, what was it? Like, what did she say? When her first interview, where Saiki's like, Saiki's like Boko wa Saiki desu, desu, which is interesting. I asked my teacher about that. Saiki, she uses Boko wa Saiki when she introduces herself.
Yeah.
Boys use Boku.
Yeah, it's for boys. Yeah.
But the fact that Saiki is, and I asked her about that, my teacher about that, and she goes, I don't know. She goes, it could be an affectation, or it could be maybe when you're the singer of a group or the leader of a group, you use that. Or as well, you might just be asserting yourself, going, I'm the boy in this situation. But I thought it was just really funny. But so what did Konami say at the last interview?
At the last radio show she did, I don't know if the whole radio show was posted, but they went just through their classic presentation of Saiki and Konami, and Konami started by saying that she's going to tell the top 3 of what she likes the most about Saiki.
so she's like, hi, I'm Konami, and these are the top 3.
Yeah, exactly that. That's exactly that.
And you can just see the DJ going,
this band is crazy. And he was even saying that the last time he talked to Miku, so he already knows that this band is crazy.
Miku when you hear the conversations that they have, particularly when they're on, like radio shows or whatever, and they talk about when they dive into that Po thing, you can see that, maybe some of the other members have heard it before, but that's the thing about when you're a band and when you're going to get asked the same questions all the time. Yeah. You just have to get used to the same answers all the time. And Miku, like when she's talking about how she came up with Po and what it means and why it's there, and how sometimes it annoys the other members, but they're just so used to it. But I tell you, listening to her not do it is weird. Like when you see the early BAND-MAID stuff where she's talking and you don't hear Po, you go, what am I? And it's almost like an uncanny valley thing where you're going something's missing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. And then when you go, oh, it's Po. Because I remember the first time I heard Po, as a listener, I was like, okay, she's going to stop that eventually. Kind of thing, but then it's become such a part of who she is. And then on the radio shows, they work it in and to how they're doing. And I love how Saiki has really come forward in the last 2 or 3 years, where she's become, particularly, it started with the US tour, where she's really become that front person. And we mentioned it in a documentary, I think, where Miku has always been sort of the face of BAND-MAID, and Saiki was very shy. She just didn't want to sit. Like some of those stairs that she used to do were just hilarious, the silent clap and stare was always a good one, And there's that way that Japanese people clap that is just so different from the rest of the world, which is really strange. It was pointed out to me the other day, Japanese people, when they're doing this, in North America, we clap like this. It's such a a slight little difference, but it really, like, when you see them doing it, like, like, and particularly when they laugh, but she's really come forward, and she now can handle a show like it's Saiki and Konami. Like, would you let Konami loose at an interview? I don't know if I would, but I don't know if a lot of what she does as an actor, if she's just off with the fairies. But she's super, super talented. She's almost like a savant in a way. Where
if she's playing a role when she's doing that, she's a fantastic actress.
If it is, and because you don't.
I'm pretty sure
you just don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think it is.
No,
I don't think it is either. Some of the the Saiki Konami interaction may be played up a bit.
Yeah.
But the girls themselves all know their role. Even Misa has really come forward. It's too bad that you don't really. We've yet to hear Misa at an interview. We've had all of them except Misa.
Yes, we did have one of Misa on.
There was that one she did on her own.
on the radio. She did one interview on the radio.
Which was so again, that she can. And how did they make her feel comfortable? They gave her a beer.
Exactly that. That's exactly.
But
eating stuff also. Yeah.
And I also think that they were talking about the food, and I think
exactly.
I think the beer company actually sponsored the radio station or something.
I think so. Yeah.
So that she can do it as well. But I think these radio shows are very smart. And particularly in Japan with FM radio. Not everybody listens to the same stations. You all have your own thing, and so they're really. And there are certain stations that are just geared for certain things.
And you have even a radio station with glass, and people can see them through the glass. I remember one of the latest one. A lot of fans were behind the glass with a BAND-MAID T-shirt and towels and flags and stuff like that, and they took a photo with them, which is pretty good.
I think that's fantastic. There was a radio station in here in the UK, in Romford, actually, of all places, where you would go to the mall, and I used to remember walking by, and you look over, and there they are doing their show.
Yeah, exactly that.
So, behind the glass, but it's soundproof. Now you could go up and knock on the window and interview, but the girls, maybe they're being also strategic because they're also kitted out in the maid outfits, so it's obvious who they're talking to. And with the radio stations, I've only caught a couple of the things, and I have to get the translated ones. But the questions are becoming much, much better.
I hope so.
They're not. They're not. Why the maid outfits? What are you doing? It's like they know that's been covered already, and now they're talking about the new album and all the stories.
On the last one, Konami also kept the tension because she told the first top 3, and then they were waiting for a while until revealing the top 1 of what she likes the most about Saiki. So I won't reveal it. You have to check the.
I will. You'll have to give me that link. You'll have to give me that link.
It's on the Discord, by the way. Someone posted it with English subtitle.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's very, very, very funny to hear.
Yeah, we'll catch that actually. So.
Yeah, it's very funny. And so a lot of radio shows. They still have some radio shows planned for October and early November with still Saiki and Konami. They have one with Miku and Saiki.
They were. I know there was some speculation about why Konami all of a sudden appeared, but that could also be part of Made It, where they want more stuff. And also, maybe somebody else also said maybe Miku just wasn't available.
Yeah, Miku was maybe doing something else. That's right.
There's and whatever it is, or maybe they spread it out so that she was somewhere else, or you could, you never know what it is. That she could be just back home visiting family or something, and because they can't be going all the time. So.
Yeah, that's right. And a few days ago, last Friday, they released the music video of Forbidden Tale, which is one of my favorite songs from the album. So I was very happy to.
It immediately became one of my favorite videos. You could tell the production was. It had a feel of Manners.
Yeah,
right away, and it made me wonder if they were filming in the same place. But you pointed out that BAND-MAID fans already know.
Yeah, they found the two locations.
That's it.
Inside and outside.
That was an interesting shot where you've got Konami on the stairs. Like Mincho, she takes a lot of power poses, but they tend not to put her in a position of like that. Like, this is the first video where I've sort of seen Konami standing at the top of the stairs doing that. Like, I've seen other videos where she's just sort of, doing her thing out, but that was a great shot of her just there in the thing. And this is where I was wondering, there's less Miku in this video than I like. I'd like a bit more. But also, they've done a really good job. Like, the cinematography is great. I have a feeling that's probably Miku's hand, which you could say that's...
Yeah, some people are actually wondering whose hand is featured in the video.
They did the same thing. Do you remember for Unseen World?
With the crawling ends. So
and when they actually showed how they did it, that was hilarious.
That was so funny.
That was a wonderful behind the scenes moment where.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see the behind the scene of Forbidden Tale.
But Forbidden Tale, right away is like I'd mentioned that I'd seen the Nitpick's reaction. She just. The thing I like about a reactor like her is she's got a bit of musical background, so that she, there's a couple of guitarists who are also like that, who, when they're analyzing a video, they're not just going, yeah, this is really good, it rocks, yeah. Which those are okay, those are all right. But I like a reactor who can go, did you hear what they did there? Yeah. Did you hear that change? Did you hear that thing that?
And they play it again, and you get it, and you're like, oh yeah.
When you hear it, they go, listen. They'll go like, listen to what Nisa's doing here. How that goes, because you might just miss it. And
I really like that.
They do it in, like, she does it in such a way where a novice understands what she's talking about.
As a novice, I can confirm.
and so watching the video, and the first thing I thought, there was only like, it's a bunch of different songs stuck together, but done very, very well. I thought there was only 5, and I think you pointed out there was like 7.
Yeah, 7. I think there are 7, but I could be wrong.
No, if you hear 7, you've heard 7. It's sort of like somebody could go, actually, there's probably closer to 9 when you listen, and you go, wow, really? And it's just the way that they've glued these songs together. And an interview with Konami where she was talking about, where she said, this is a journey, this is a BAND-MAID journey. That's another, like, they've done such a good job titling this thing Epic Narratives, and then you have the cover that's telling a story, you have this is telling the story, and then you've had the songs that we've got already, like Protect You, Shambles, and then you get into Bestie, which is telling the story of meeting Incubus at Mikey from Incubus at Lollapalooza, or where they and then there's the next story, Show Them, which is the story of them meeting the Warning and all that, and the lyrics, they've done, Miku and Saiki have done a really good job with the lyrics as well. There's a lot of stories in this that are really cool, which is one of the things that I'm really appreciating about the album. And it's making me, this album more than any other one, is making me dive into the lyrics. I want to know what the lyrics are. Like, I see the subtitles and stuff, and I've been looking at it, but some albums I'm just happy to listen to the Japanese, and I'm getting better at understanding what's going on. But this album, I want to know what they're saying, because they're telling stories that I want to know.
And Nairon actually released the translation of each songs on Reddit, and he posted them on Discord, even Forbidden Tale, so you can check his post on Reddit.
Yeah, he
did an incredible job as translating those. And also he added a lot of notes, because as you know, Japanese is very subjective, so it depends on who is translating the lyrics.
Again, who does that? Like, who does that? Because was he paid to do that? No. He just did it for the fan, and he could have done that for himself. He didn't have to, and so he does it for the fans, so they can maybe enjoy it more, find out what's going on, and that's the thing about this group.
And I'm pretty sure that they know. That's why they are not I mean, they are giving a lot of interviews with a lot of details about each songs and how they made this song and what was in their mind when they made this particular song. But they know that the community is there to translate and convey the emotions and the lyrics and everything they want to tell.
Because if you notice, they didn't really do that for other, even what was it, Unseen World, you know, they would talk about Manager Afterlife. And the big thing about Afterlife, for example, was they filmed in the Maid Cafe where Miku used to work.
Yeah.
So that was the sort of the story behind that one. But the actual story behind like Warning or, you know, any of the big songs that, or even Black Hole, other than what you learned about Black Hole was they wanted it to be the fastest song they could play, but you don't know about the story behind Black Soul. Whereas this album, they're really making a point of going, this is what we were thinking when we did this song. This is what was happening with this song. This is what we wanted you to get from this song, which is really cool.
I know that they did that previously, but I'm not sure that they
not to this extent where they're really sticking with the epic narratives and they're going. It's almost like this is, in many ways, this is almost like a greatest hits album that where you're not actually getting the songs, you're getting their journey.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like, this is how we got here, where we are right now, which is, I think, is great. Great idea.
Yeah, and I know that you also like Tamaya, and Tamaya is also same as Forbidden Tale. Tamaya and Forbidden Tale and Letters to You are written by Saiki, actually.
Which is interesting because does that mean that I'm like it's not that she writes in a different style, but her songs have a bit more, I think her songs have a bit more motion in them than Miku's. Like Miku's are a narrative, and she's very good at her wordplay.
Yeah.
Saiki is not necessarily into wordplay, but she's into her words creating motion. Like there's lots of movement and jump. Like you just want to jump and dance, and you know, like Maji Maji, you know, like Tamaya, and you know, the Forbidden Tale. Not so much like this one. This is sort of a more speculative Saiki, but it's still, because there's all these little parts moved together. But most of her songs, see, in many ways, Forbidden Tale doesn't fit into what I'm saying. But the other songs that she's done, there's lots of energy. She tends to, even the Corellia, you know, like you.
Oh yeah.
You know, you look at, or she did Hate as well, right?
Yes.
So, Hate, not necessarily a lot of jumping, but there's a lot of energy to Saiki's song. Forbidden Tale on its own, though, is like a different animal altogether. It's I think the combination of Saiki and Konami in that one, they did a fantastic job of a narrative.
The whole album is amazing, and we know, like you said, we know half of the songs, almost half of the songs, and they are easing us into the album by putting 4 songs that we already know, and then we will discover the first one as the fifth track of the album.
And that's the thing, and I know some people went, "Oh, we know half the album already." I felt like, just like you said, we were eased into it. Where I felt like I honestly, when I opened up my album, the physical copy, I just felt like I'd owned it already.
Yeah.
I didn't feel cheated that I was, they'd already released these songs and we knew them already, because they're going to release the songs anyway.
Yeah.
Whether I own this copy or not, and so just in many ways, I was holding this thing going, this is helping the maids, but at the same time, I didn't feel like they were holding anything back, or really, they released something early. There's no surprises. There's still lots of surprises on the album, like the one in Tamaya.
And they even released Forbidden Tale after the release of the album, which is not something that they are used to do, I think.
No, very smart.
Yeah,
because Forbidden Tale is an epic narrative.
Yeah,
is what it is.
It is.
And so they did a very smart job because it's all those songs done together, and that's part of makes you wonder if that was part of Made It. If we're there were certain decisions that were made because old BAND-MAID would have released that before the album.
Probably.
And as we've got this new album coming up. We're releasing. They were released it as a special event.
Yeah.
Guess what song we're going to release? And this time they held it back. They were riding off of, what was the last? Was Show Them was the last.
Show Them
one?
was the last. Yeah.
Yeah. And that one still has, as I was saying earlier, but that one that had some interesting legs on it, because I got my YouTube algorithm got stuck between The Warning and BAND-MAID cycling, where they were promoting The Warning, which would promote Show Them, which would promote BAND-MAID, which which would promote The Warning, and because they did this collab, and that went on really well. And again, that's another really powerful song. Show Them itself, that's another narrative. There's a story there. Listen to the catch the lyrics on that one.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough that a lot of the lyrics are in English. Yeah. And that's another very powerful song, and great, a great collab. And so when the album comes out, I didn't feel cheated at all.
Yes, it's like I said already. Yeah, it's my favorite album. After the first listen of all the songs, it was instantly my favorite album. And there are some crazy competition between BAND-MAID albums, so that's saying a lot, I think. And
I love that Saiki's getting involved more, and that sort of brings into the next topic. Like, as I was mentioning, I was scrolling through Facebook today, and this is how I got reminded of the interview, because there was a thing that popped up that said, "Hey, I was just watching some anime. Is this our Saiki?" And for Tactics, and I thought, good for you. Like, Miku's had her go. The band itself has had their go. The band itself has had a lot more anime than I thought, which was great. That video you did on the BAND-MAID anime was I learned a lot on that one.
Me too.
and that's the thing. Like, I'd forgotten about Glory.
Same.
It was
same. I didn't even know that it was for an anime.
Yeah, and then then when you have Miku's Klupo does her little solo thing.
Yeah.
And now that Saiki gets a solo thing, that's actually a really good sign for the band as well, because it means that Saiki has been recognized as, to me, this is what I felt when I saw that. She's recognized as the voice of BAND-MAID. So she's now, the fact that if somebody says, if they listen to her sing, they'll go, "Isn't that the singer from BAND-MAID?" She has a very distinctive voice. Yeah. People have commented on that a lot, because a lot of people, when they see Japanese women who are fronting a band, they expect them to be higher pitched. There's a certain style that they sing, but Saiki's voice much lower, and so that's always fantastic. Where it's just one of those things where you go, this is great.
Yeah.
That it's happening, and I think it's fantastic that she's gotten her own thing. It's a flag for the band, not just Saiki, that she's gotten this.
Yeah, that was very unexpected, but it was also announced at the last moment that Saiki was
exactly.
Yeah, that she was collaborating with Kota Yamamoto on the anime The Most Notorious Stalker Runs the World's Greatest Clan. The Japanese name the Japanese name is as long as that. So.
And it's one of those things where you go, it's interesting you say they sort of released it at the last minute. Previous BAND-MAID, I guess, would sort of cue those things up, and they would let you know there was going to be an announcement and all this stuff. And this time they're just dropping stuff.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you're like, wow, that's great. And so the fact that they're still doing anime, because anime is such a big deal in Japan.
In Japan, it's very big.
And so the fact that they're getting out there, the people have talked about how they might not have as many Japanese fans as Western fans, and I'm sure that there are people who love BAND-MAID as well, kind of thing, in Japan. But the fact that they're still doing anime means they're still in the mainstream. They're still being talked about. They're still being, they've got the BAND-MAID taxis, and they've got the BAND-MAID, all the stuff that they're doing. So good for Saiki. I think.
Yeah, they are doing a lot of promotion, and I think they are doing a lot of a lot of interesting promotion and a lot of. I mean, it's all well thought where they are doing.
That's a very good way to put it. This album, the way they're promoting, seems very old school, which is awesome. Like
radio, it's going to the physical shops.
It's boots to the floor. And they're off, and they're being seen, they're being out, and so it's not like they're just talking about it and posting it and doing like posting them in a recording studio going, hi, it's us, we got a new album. They're going out and they're talking about it, and that's fantastic, and it allows people to ask them questions and maybe get more stuff. So I think that this campaign, however they're handling epic narratives, is, for lack of a better word, epic. Yeah. I think it's really cool what they decided to do.
They built the hype with Kanami, who was talking about each song, one song per day, and she also asked Misa, hey Misa, do you have something you want to tell about epic narratives? And Misa started to post bass cover on Instagram.
Yeah.
Of new songs, only of new songs. She posted, I think she posted Forbidden Tale and Tamaya, or maybe to get to the top. But she did post 2 or 3 bass cover of the new songs from Epic Narratives, which is the first, because she never did that before, to promote the release of an album.
That's true, and or if she did, as the Connie would say, use line. So they probably do a lot more stuff online than we'd have to talk to our Asian fans about that, because I'm sure there's Asian fans that follow BAND-MAID online, and Line is just a social media platform that doesn't really exist in the West. So
that's true. Yeah. It's not used a lot. It exists, but it's not used a lot. Not like they're using it in Japan, at least.
No.
Moving on to the last concert, the first of the 2 spin-off that came with a new design that you talked already earlier with the skeleton.
I think again, we're back to the skeleton motif.
Yep.
And Saiki had said that she was looking for an image that represented the band, and the fact that it's a skeleton in a maid outfit for her represents the band is weird. Like, as a Westerner, I'm not quite sure I get it, but when you realize, like when we were talking about, like with Just Bring It, the skeleton motif has been with BAND-MAID for a long time, we went through some of their old merch, and you look at some of there's that one particular artist who does
it's Kegami, I think it's Kegami.
And so he does the maids as skeletons or whatever, and so it's not creepy. Like, nothing about this picture, as I mentioned before, this picture to me reminds me very much of Iron Maid. This is a very like the new, like with the maid holding the skeleton hands, but the colors, it's very old school. Like, and one of the things about Iron Maiden, like from the old metal bands from the 80s, the 70s and 80s, every single one of their songs told stories. That was the whole point of, like, you listening to Iron Maiden, was the epic stories that were told by these things. And then so when you have BAND-MAID sort of subconsciously linking themselves to the old school rockers who told really epic tales, I think that's really cool. I don't know if she did it on purpose, but
it was.
And I love the design, how they.
Yeah, me too.
This one was for, who did this one? This was.
It was for the Fukuoka show for Akane and Misa.
Right, on the 5th.
Yeah, on the 5th of October. So they did 2 designs, one for the Fukuoka show and one for the Sapporo show with Kanami and Miku.
And the color change is awesome and everything. It still gives you that sort of same. The other one is more Iron Maiden vibe. I don't know with the color. This one, I like the blue. I really like it. And if I got a T-shirt, I would probably get the blue one.
Yeah.
But I love the designs and how they represent each of the members, and how it's also really interesting. Does that mean that Saiki usually chooses the set list?
I think so. I saw a lot of interviews and talk where she said that she was most of the time choosing the set list, But I'm pretty sure that they are all working together to do this.
Oh, I'm sure they do, and they, because they talked about how I think you mentioned at the concert, the October 5th concert, where there was supposed to be a couple things like Akane having a solo, and then we're going to do something like this, and they changed things up slightly because in rehearsal they realized that Akane went no, I can't keep. Well, I can't keep going to that level all the time because even drummers need a break, and there's certain songs that you will do as a drummer that are actually sort of resting songs in a way because you're sort of in a pattern. But the thing about drummers is they're always moving, always doing stuff. I love this set list. There's that right in there: Balance, Liberal, Hide and Seek, and Decided by Myself. Like Decided by Myself, I went, I never even heard of that song. I couldn't tell you what album that was from.
Just Bring It. It's usually it's in Just Bring It.
And but I love the way that they sort of even I Still Seek Revenge. You don't hear that much.
Yep.
Moratorium, they've been playing it a bit more, but it kind of so there's that good chunk like those those songs where they went.
Even Hide and Seek is almost never played. It's a B-side from Glory, so it's not.
Which is great, and so there's some fans out there who are like, wow.
exactly that.
And this venue, Peter from MNN mentioned 400 seats.
Yeah, 400. That's not a lot of people. Yeah.
So it's interesting. You've got BAND-MAID who go from doing Yokohama to the big stadium to a very intimate venue, and I think the ladies enjoy. I don't know if they could be a stadium band. I don't know if they want to be a stadium band. I think they would like to play bigger.
Yeah, I'm pretty
venues
sure. Yeah,
more,
they already said so. Yeah.
For certain songs, but I don't think they would want to do that all the time. Like like a band like Queen or something like that, where you become you're a stadium rock band.
Yeah.
They're definitely a intimate.
Yeah.
They like to have interactions with their fans. Miku in particular, when she's doing Omajanai time, she needs to almost be able to reach out and touch the fans and have it. She needs to see. There's Omajanai time took on a whole other thing when she was in Yokohama, but they're very much a band for the fans, and so they come across as they feed off the energy of and the fans because they're so close and there, give them what they need, kind of thing. And I think they want to, really push out the big. Everybody wants to do that big show where you just go.
Yeah, at least once. At least once.
I think if they did one once a year.
Yeah, once a year is great.
Where they do like a big show.
Finale,
wherever. Yeah, finale is a very good way to put it. Whether it's a Christmas show or there's that one show wherever, or it's a fest, or it's like the Lollapalooza where you've got thousands of people there. And you've got that one big show you do, and then the rest of your shows. Now, money-wise, that doesn't work. Because you want to sell as many tickets as you can, of course. But either that, or you do. I see. It's in many ways, Japan is sort of set up for them in a way, or they've set themselves. You have a bunch of really small venues that you play, but the problem is you have to do a lot of shows, and we've seen in past documentaries that you've done up where how many shows did they do? Like they'll do like 200-300 shows a year.
They did more than 100 shows on 2016 and or 2015.
And you do divide it up. That's one show every 2 days or something.
Yeah. That's way too much.
It is, but what were they promoting in 2016? What was the album that came out there?
BAND-MAID, I think. Yes, it was BAND-MAID in 2016.
And BAND-MAID is again
a new beginning.
You look at the songs that are on there. Like I didn't know Freedom, the original Freedom, was on BAND-MAID.
Yeah.
I've never heard Order. Or Yuragu. I don't know that one. So I'll have to go listen to them again.
Too many songs.
When you have so many songs, some songs are going to stick in your head, and some aren't. And for the longest time, I thought Nonfiction Days was just the title of an album. And then when I actually heard the song, I went, "Oh, this song! I didn't know that's what it was called."
Yeah.
I think we're very lucky to have a band like BAND-MAID around.
Yeah, I mean,
who's willing to do the stuff like that.
I don't know how many bands are just making some of the members doing the set list and producing and doing solos, doing instrumentals and stuff like that. Some special shows.
Very true. Very true. I mean, you'd have to follow the band, but with the band was such a. It's almost like, they're a fated band. The way they came together, and then when you had Misa who was thinking about leaving, and then you had Konami who gets overworked, and almost collapses. But the band, the way they gelled, a lot of bands by this point are having inner disputes. They're going off doing solo projects. You don't know if the band's going to stay together. They're getting married. They're doing stuff. That's one of the things I wonder about these ladies. They're giving a lot to the fans.
Yeah,
a lot of their time and energy, kind of thing. And maybe this is all they want to do.
I'm pretty sure that this is all they want to do, because you don't spend that much time with people that you like that much, doing something that you love that much just for the fun.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that they are in love with music.
Yeah, because there's other bands. There's other bands we've watched where, they're still good bands and things like that, but where a member will leave because they got married or they're pregnant, or there's family life, or they just decided they don't want to do it anymore because it's a lot of work for traveling. And look at one of the you look at ABBA, for example, where they just broke up. Well, one of the members hated touring. She always hated touring. And so when that finally came up, you just went, why didn't you tell us you didn't like touring?
Yeah.
She's like, I get it. But it's so you have some of your favorite bands who now BAND-MAID seems to just be able to give it to us. For how long? I hope. This is one of the things. I hope
forever. Yes.
But you have no idea what their personal lives are like and how they're going to decide to do. Who was it? That's where you have a song like Bestie, which says, I want to be doing this for. That's why the lyrics of Bestie, I think, have been catching up to me, because you kind of go, this sounds like they want to keep doing this for a while.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Which is great. And then Konami in interviews is like, I don't know. I think her last interview was really poignant, where she was like, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this with the band. Hopefully for a while, but she was like, we don't know.
Yeah,
we just take it as we just take it as we go. And this new album gives us a lot of hope that they're going to be around. If they keep telling stories like this and keep writing music like this, this is going to be a tough album
to beat. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I thought Unseen World, or even World Domination, with these albums coming out, where every time a new album comes out, you go, this is going to be a tough one to beat. This one seems to have something for everybody.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's going to be a good one.
Can't wait to hear the next songs already.
Well, I can't. So when you're talking about, on October 5th they had a show. When's the next concert? Is it soon,
October 20?
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what the guitar players have to say.
Yeah, and it will be also a spin-off, so it will be managed by Miku and Kanami, so they will choose the songs, so it will be a very special set as well.
That's what I mean. It'll be very... And the spin-offs, what they've made a point of doing in spin-offs is trying to pick songs that...
almost never played, yeah.
Yeah, and so it'll be really interesting to see. I'm imagining... Different is going to be in there somewhere, but I'm trying to think of the guitar heavy. So like a lot of the songs are guitar heavy, but some of the songs you realize, because there's those songs that you go, there wasn't a guitar solo, and I go, did you listen to the song? That wasn't it. And you go, what do you mean? That was an entire guitar solo. Didn't you hear Konami? Konami didn't stop. Like she's through the whole thing. You go, she didn't get a solo. She didn't get a solo. And there's a few songs like that where Konami just goes. Yeah. There's also, there's the songs where they team up, like Black Hole. I don't know if they could do. I imagine they might double up a couple of songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm pretty sure that Miku will also perform a lot of solo songs.
So they'll do Sai Nakadori, Bright Star.
Yeah. Maybe she will play again Big Dad, like she did on the last concert that they released, the Spotify Oasis.
Right, because what did they have? Well, see, Rockin' Me is a great guitar song.
Rockin' Me as well, yeah.
Yeah, and So when you've got the songs, they might even give her a Clupo song. You never know.
That would be really funny that she opened with Clupo.
Because as long as she didn't do what she did during that one sort of COVID concert.
The online Okuji, yeah, she did an intro.
Well,
Clupo,
she came out as Clupo and then ran backstage and changed. And she came out, she was like, and so the first song you could just see she was like, because that was a big. And then the thing about that is Akane is such a big, huge Clupo fan. Akane was, she's off backstage.
She was nuts. She was totally nuts about Clupo.
So that's the thing about there's still surprises. We can still have these conversations where we go, what do you think they'll play? And it'll be interesting.
Yeah, also
you're right. Most bands don't allow one of their members of their band to pick the songs that they want to play, and because normally you pick the songs that you think the fans will want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
And the problem with BAND-MAID is we want to hear them all.
Yeah, but they are also one of the few bands that changes their set list all the time.
They do, and we've had these conversations. I've heard the guys from like Back and and they'll talk about like some of the reactors where they'll talk about bands who just sound the same, and sometimes that's cool. Like you've got a favorite band and every album sounds the same, and so when they tour, you know how they're going to sound. And then you have other bands that have albums that they put out, and then when they do a live show, it sounds totally different than their songs. One band that used to be like that was Rush. I'd seen Rush, and you listen to the album and then you listen to their live shows, and because they just do a lot of experimenting and a lot of running off, and you're like, is this what I wanted to sound like the album? Some people are like that, but some people are like, no, the live experience is awesome, this is great. And then you have those bands that go in and they sound, every album they put out is different, and you go, how do I like my band. Like, do you want your band to stay the same, or do you want to evolve? I think that's one of the coolest things about band.
Yeah, and they are even adding intros, adding solos, adding battles, they change stuff sometimes in the songs.
One of the things that BAND-MAID does with each album though is they do this really interesting thing where they grab a song, they write a song that's reminiscent of their previous album.
Yeah.
Put it on their new one. And so you go, this reminds me of like Unseen World, or this reminds me of this song, and you go, they've done a really good job of tying together all their albums, even though this song, Epic Narratives, it's very different than their song. But there's that one song on there where you kind of go, oh yeah, this is BAND-MAID. And you go, even though the new songs, you go, this is BAND-MAID. You just know it's BAND-MAID because it's different. But there's some songs in there that just hit you right here where you go, this is BAND-MAID.
Yeah,
BAND-MAID. They've got like a sort of core sound that they'll do, the way they do their chord changes and the way that they do their chorus song. This where you kind of go, this is what I remember about that. It's just that one song on there that glues everything together, which sort of allows them to play with the rest of the songs, which is awesome.
Yeah, there is a BAND-MAID recipe, but they change it all the time. There are a few songs that change the formula to make something crazy and something that really works, like Forbidden Tale, for example. It breaks every laws in every music composition.
It does. Like Forbidden Tale shouldn't work.
Yeah,
because it's all these songs stuck together. But like when they listen to that jazz part, the amount of people that just stopped their video at that point and went, and then they're checking the channel to make sure they've got BAND-MAID, kind of thing. And then they're going, okay, I see the made outfits. Okay. And that's, in many ways, also is that Forbidden Tales they're not just telling a song. Konami's flexing their muscles, and and so is the band. Like the band is basically saying, we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
And they do. Like you listen to the parts of the song where there's a hard rock part, there's like a pop rock part, there's a ballad part, there's the jazz part, and you kind of go, and each fits, and each member is doing their thing, and then you get the choir at the end, and you kind of go, what the, like that whole song is like a what, wow. And it's just really, really cool. And at no point do any of the members look uncomfortable,
no.
Or they each time they change the segment, it just everything went click, 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 and so that's BAND-MAID going, yeah. We're good, by the way. Just tell it.
I think that's one of the things that struck me when I listened to BAND-MAID the first times, is that each time they go to a solo with Konami, the moment when it switched back to Saiki singing, it's like a seamless song, even though there was a solo just before and then she continues to sing.
When they have, like, the way that they've done their solos is one of the coolest things in the world, because when they do their duels, that's like, there are many bands who show off and they'll go, look at me, I'm about to do a guitar solo, and they'll stand there for like 5 minutes and they're licking the strings and stuff, and you're going, okay, that's cool, you're good. Like, particularly if you're a fan, you go, he's a really good or she's a really good musician.
Yeah.
But BAND-MAID very rarely shows off. They just don't, like, Konami's guitar solos, I would love if they were extended by another 2 to 3 minutes, to be honest. She very rarely does a guitar solo that's longer than a minute.
Yeah.
And it's just not, because if you listen to the entire song, she's been soloing in the background the entire time. Misa, up and down the bass, like the way in many ways, she doesn't need a solo because she's been soloing through the whole song. But also there are people, and we all know the bands where you'll hear that one person in the background and they sort of like, it almost detracts from the rest of the song because they're just so busy, running around. And BAND-MAID, they just don't show off. They don't. They show off during a Manjanai time, and they show off during their in-between song, but they don't. They're not a band who does it. But then Forbidden Tale comes along, and Forbidden Tale is just a very subtle way of saying, not only are we good at telling stories, but we're actually pretty good. because they're playing all these genres effortlessly. Exactly. Like, there's a lot of bands who can't play jazz. There's a lot of bands who can't switch genres the way they do.
Yeah.
And you look at what they did with their acoustic stuff, where not only was their acoustic stuff just gifts for fans, they rewrote songs.
Totally rewrote them, yeah.
So some bands would just unplug their instruments and just play the same thing.
Yeah.
Konami and the band, they wrote entirely new, scores
and they wrote them for like 2 or 3 piece or 5 piece.
How many, exactly. And how many times did Miku say that, or she couldn't, sometimes I wasn't sure what song I was playing because it was so new. Like, you're basically learning new songs. Is what they were doing. And some of the songs, and it's very rare to get a band that does that. These girls are much more talented than I think people give them credit for. We're fans, so we're like, they're the best in the world. And the thing is with BAND-MAID, and I know this is probably a divisive view with BAND-MAID fans. I don't think they're the best in the world, because the bests in the world you never see. They're the ones who are sitting in some studio in Finland somewhere, who are who are playing so fast that it can't be recorded, digitally. And what is the best in the world? Like, how do you rate a musician? What, like, is there a test?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. Like, I've seen some amazing bass players and stuff, but the thing about these 5 ladies is they are the best together. Man, do they cook? They work so well together, and they. And another thing, people keep bringing up, Miku's guitar playing. They shouldn't. She's learned to play while on stage, which is really hard to do.
While singing as well.
While singing,
yeah.
But she's also been doing it for 14 years now.
Yeah.
So she's got so much experience.
She knows how to play guitar.
Oh, does she ever? And whenever somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, look at Nico, she's getting a solo," I think she just doesn't, like, again, she wasn't really a big fan of playing the guitar. Maybe she still doesn't really enjoy it, so that's why she doesn't really stand up front, but she knows that she's an addition to the band, like her vocals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this band is much more talented than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, they're just amazing.
Yeah, for me, they are 5 very different pieces of of a puzzle that fits perfectly. I mean,
Doesn't it ever?
Miku is completing Saiki with her voice. She's also completing the band with her guitar. Kanami is doing the writing and have crazy ideas to make crazy songs. Misa, I don't even know how Misa evolved, because she was already incredible from the start.
Because I mean, I saw some early videos of Misa where she was doing the pick thing, where she used to tuck it in before she joined BAND-MAID.
Yeah.
She, so she was been working on that for a while. But like back in the day, like the 80s, you had bands like U2 where they used to talk about the Edge, the guitar player, and Bono, and then they talked about their rhythm section, and how they were probably one of the best rhythm sections in the bass and the drums. BAND-MAID, you don't really talk. I don't separate Misa and Akane from the group.
No,
they're integral. Like when you talk about BAND-MAID, you kind of talk about the group.
Yeah.
Even with Saiki, they've got their instrumentals and stuff like that. But even like it's very difficult to separate Saiki from the group as well, and because they all, as you mentioned, they all complement each other so well. A lot of that's to do with Konami, and that kid. Like, I don't know what they fed her when she was young, but the first thing that you pick up from her documentary is she started playing guitar late,
very late. Yeah,
and like when she was like 16 or 17.
Yeah,
and guitar isn't her first instrument; piano is.
Yeah,
and so you look at her playing the guitar and you go, what would happen if I gave her a banjo? Would she just all of a sudden be like, like this incredibly good banjo player? Like, she just seems to be able to pick up an instrument. Yeah. Like I don't. If I gave her a saxophone or something might change. But it seems like instruments that she can use with her hands, stringed instruments. Now the piano is a stringed instrument.
Yeah,
it's a mallet stringed instrument.
And we mentioned the fact that we would love to see BAND-MAID perform with an orchestra, and I could totally see Kanami playing on the piano with an orchestra.
Well, and that's the thing, and how if they work it out, how it would be like, because like Nitpick mentioned that in her video, which is where I thought that would be a fantastic idea. Like I mentioned that girl who's traveling around the U.S. right now, Luffy. I butchered her name. It doesn't matter. Little guitar player from Iceland. She plays the cello. She does a lot of festivals. She brings a Philharmonic Orchestra with her when she plays. Yeah. Now they usually use the Philharmonic Orchestra where they are, but can you imagine BAND-MAID doing a show with a Philharmonic Orchestra where Konami has made arrangements? And so you've got them up front. Like I've seen people do it. Joe Jackson did it in a fantastic job, where you can have rock bands do stuff with Philharmonic orchestras.
For sure.
If you have a good arranger. Konami is a good arranger. And she's an amazing arranger. And so this is another skill that she has. It's just like, I can just imagine, even if it wasn't a full-on orchestra, say if it was a chamber orchestra, or a chamber, where you've got like 4 cellos sitting on the side of the stage or something. They could do some amazing stuff with some of their songs. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You'd think the acoustic version was good. The orchestral version.
Yeah, and Kanami mentioned that some of her work was already thought to be played for an orchestra, like the intro of Sense, for example. From No One as well. So that's.
And these are the things and see, you've got a band that really thinks about how they're writing and we talked about how a lot of their songs, I think it was mentioned earlier that Miku tries to incorporate the English not just for the band but for the fans. And English is just, I mean, there's other languages out there, but English is, there's a lot of people who speak it, so when you use it, chances are you're going to be in an area where the audience is going to be able to answer back. They'll be able to help you out. And then you have, songs like The sing-along.
It's not the same in festivals, but most of the time it's Endless Story.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And so, yeah, and it's just when you have that, where it's obviously a song written as audience interaction.
Yeah.
And so they have many songs that they do that, like Play and Domination, where they...
Call and response.
So call and response. And those are very powerful songs, but they, at the same time, the fact that they're thinking about that, they're thinking we want to involve our audience with our shows. So they're not just writing music, they're writing cooperation exercises in a way. So, which is also difficult because we could just write some music and play. But there's some songs out there, if you do them well, and you get the audience involved, you win. And so BAND-MAID seems to be very good at that formula. So
very, very good.
I look forward to what they have in store.
Me too.
Yeah.
Talking of the future of the band, the ZEPP tour will start on November 2nd with a concert in ZEPP Nagoya, and then November 3rd in ZEPP Osaka, and then 2 days in a row at ZEPP Haneda at the end of November.
Right.
And it should be around then that we should have announcements for next year. So around end of November, maybe December, something like that.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not really looking forward to. I mean, I'm almost looking forward to it, but I don't expect a big Christmas thing.
No, I mean
because they've had a crazy year.
Maybe they will do an orchestra for Christmas.
Well, you never know what they do. But they might do like. Maybe they'll arrange 3 songs, or they'll do a little mini special where
that would be cool.
where they get together and they do like maybe 4 or 5 songs, or not that many. But I can imagine this Christmas being quiet for them, because what happened was it last year when they went to Hong Kong at the last time?
End of 2023. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that was sort of like a last minute. Hey, we're going to Hong Kong, and that was like really cool and everything. But they seem like they're going to get tired. They need to spend time with family, and they need to.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I don't expect anything from BAND-MAID this Christmas. And if I get something, it'll be lovely.
Yeah.
But I don't expect, even if say they do that one song. Let's do one song, and they do an MV of it, with an orchestra version of something. that would be a joy kind of thing. So they've released it, and orchestras. Very much tied to classical music, tied to Christmas, all this stuff. It would be a fantastic segue into it. But if all we get is a Christmas card and a video,
that would be fine.
Of just them going, "Hey, thank you very much for the good year."
Yeah,
I'm happy.
Especially if they start their tour next year very early, like in January or February.
That's the thing. So if you you need time to rest and relax, and then
rehearsal.
Yeah, and then with the the European tour, hopefully, and it's weird, where you've got the places like, I'm lucky enough to, there'll be the UK and France and Germany, and hopefully, Scandinavian countries, and depends. I mean, I'd love to also see them hit Australia, they might do that on an Asian tour.
And South America would be great as well.
Yeah. And so this is a big place. So, but you don't need to go back to North America.
No, you don't need to.
You guys have had enough.
Just go everywhere else, just not North America. They are fine. They had a lot of concerts already.
I think it's good. I think there's a bit of sour grapes and jealousy there, but at the same time, they gave us some great shows. Yeah. And because of the fan cams, we got some opportunities, and there were some wonderful moments that happened on the US tour that I also think that the girls learned a lot, and so here they are, new management, and is
new chapter
change? Yeah, it's probably not going to change that much. But
the new chapter will start now, I think. So we'll see how it goes.
I think it'll be good.
Yes. Let's continue with the song of the moment. So I asked you to choose a song that you like to listen recently, and we'll listen to it and maybe talk a little bit about it afterwards.
Sure.
Okay. So which song did you choose?
Yeah. No, my song at the moment is The One. There's just, as soon as I started to listen, I was maybe like 12 seconds into it, and I went, oh, okay, and I went, this is like about us and memorable, and there was just something about the song that was tied into the other, that type of song for me, kind of thing. About Us has always still been one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, I love About Us.
But you know, when it seemed to fall into that category. But as I listened to it, I went, it's its own thing. But yeah, so it's The One was for me.
All right, let's play The One.
Right. Konami stick stuff in there that's like,
is always a lot going on, and
fantastic.
And this album is actually well mixed for once.
Well, some of the albums, I remember there was a conversation, I think I mentioned it earlier, with somebody presented, I'm not even sure if it was Unseen Worlds, but they presented it to, or Sense, might have been Sense.
Yeah.
They gave it to Rick Beato and they said, hey, listen to BAND-MAID, this new thing. And he popped it in for like 20 seconds and he popped it up to too much compression. That's all he said. And at the time I went, you're no longer my favorite. I'm unsubscribing from your channel. You know what you're talking about. And then I listened to it and I went, there's something about, I think it might have even been you who made the comment that if you could get the person who mixes their live shows, and have them do their album.
Yeah, I did say that.
That would be, because those guys seem to know what they're doing, and sometimes there does seem to be a lot of compression. Like you pop in a BAND-MAID CD, and it's one of the few CDs that I have to turn the volume down. Like, if I've been listening to something else,
everything is very loud.
Everything is loud right away.
Yeah.
It's boom, and that's okay. But sometimes you kind of go whoa. Whereas this album, there's a lot of. It's almost like somebody. There's a lot more dynamics.
Yeah.
This album and in its mixing in, and again, there's stuff in the background that is like.
Yeah, I really like this song. I also need to check the lyrics because I think that's the song that Kanami wrote after losing someone. I think that's the song. Yes, I think that's the song.
A friend of hers passed away, or
I think it was someone from the family. I think it was our grandmother, but it has not. I don't think it has been confirmed. No. Just rumors.
Still, I mean, the way that it's not a sad song, which is kind of interesting. So that's why it'd be interesting to get to this, or at least it doesn't feel like. I mean, I'd have to listen to the lyrics, but it sounds like very much a sort of holding the person up kind of thing. Like it's a very positive sounding song. I think. So it's talking about some good memories. It sounds like that's what it feels. You get a good. That's why I like it. You know, the song makes me feel positive when it's done. So.
Okay.
But of course the lyrics might.
Yeah, we may need to check the lyrics for that to be sure.
Alrighty.
All right. Next subject. So you're still the star of the show. So you have to choose one subject that you would like to talk about.
The subjects that I've always. This is just something I thought about. I haven't really gone to a lot of live shows, but I think about the shows I've been to recently, particularly since I've had my accident where I got hit by that motorcycle. I've gone to some venues where there's standing room only. You can just only stand. And then I've gone to some venues where there's only seats.
Okay. And
then you go to some venues where there's like a half and half, where there'll be like, there's the crowd up front, downstairs, but there's people in the balconies and the bleachers behind.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered which is better kind of thing. And does it depend on the band? And like there was a band that I used to follow, I still kind of do, they were called Level 42. And I've seen them twice in concert. The first time I saw them was like huge stadium, back in Canada. And their sound kind of sucked because they were actually the opening band for Steve Winwood. And as a result, they weren't mixed really well, and they didn't really, and the energy was weird kind of thing. And then the second time I saw them was in a smaller venue, seated 3,000 people. It was seats. It was a place called the Jubilee Auditorium in Calgary, Alberta, and it was specifically designed for acoustics and who was on stage.
Okay.
And they rocked. They sounded so good. But everyone was seated. There was no getting up and rah.
Oh.
Now you see the BAND-MAID shows, and you see that everyone is. You see the BAND-MAID shows, and you see that everyone is. They stand. There's that whole, and you see those. I've never been in a show where they have the railings that you lean on and things like that. And I've never actually been in a show where I'm stuck in the middle of like 3,000 people who stand. I've always. Particularly because I don't find it comfortable to stand for that long period of time. Now it's different also, particularly now with webcam, with cameras.
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like, put that flipping thing down. Kind of thing. Now that's not that's not this conversation kind of thing, but for me it was sitting or standing kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I was wondering what people prefer when they go to a concert. Do you like to stand up in front and go rah rah, or do you like to sit in the back and enjoy the show and so you can target certain parts of the show? I think you'd mentioned once when you saw them live, you were sort of right in front of like Konami or right in front of Saiki,
Yeah.
which means you're not really seeing the other side of the stage.
Yeah.
And you're not getting, and the other thing is, sometimes when you're standing, the sound isn't very good because you're getting blasted by whatever. Now it's your favorite band and you're loving it and everything like that, but you can't appreciate sometimes when the sound is, if like all you hear is like guitar, and you're not hearing anything else, and you're like, oh, okay. And so that was my thing. Do you, as at a concert, are you one of those people who likes to, like go to like a stadium and stand in the middle of like 20,000 people and just like, and you see those things? Or are you somebody who wants to sit in a intimate setting and really be able to look at your band and appreciate your band? Now, again, what is the band thing? Like, does the band want you up and running around? I know, for example, BAND-MAID doesn't like mosh pits or anything like that.
No.
They try and stop that kind of stuff right away.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what happens when you get into an exciting song like Maji or those songs where Saiki's going jump, and you can start getting a bit hyper. And if you start bumping into somebody that, so that's the other thing. I mean, because of human nature, there are tall people and there are short people. And so sometimes if you're standing, you spend the entire concert staring at someone's shoulder blades. And so if you're polite, you move them in front of you, kind of thing. But and BAND-MAID fans seem to be more polite than anything. But that was, my question is just basically to you: which do you prefer? Myself, I prefer seating because after standing for about 45 minutes, I get uncomfortable with my legs, kind of thing. So it just I prefer that, but at the same time, I'm also somebody that likes to. I'm watching the band. I can see the band, and I like it when there's no one in front that I can see over top of people's heads. Yeah. Some people like to get right in there and look over top of people's shoulders, and this is great, and they like the energy. I've never been that guy. So it's just a question for you as somebody who gets a chance to. And if you've never been to a live show, what do you think you'd like? Or why haven't you had the opportunity? Or some people don't get that opportunity to go to a live show. I mean, I've been lucky enough to see some really cool performances. Yeah. And hopefully I'll be lucky enough to catch BAND-MAID live. On their European.
I really hope so. So, you know that I already been to concerts because I've seen BAND-MAID 4 times. And I've been to other concerts before that and after that, and the thing that I like to do is to go very early in front of the venue, to go directly to the rail, in front of the stage, in front of the group. That's what I'm doing like all the time. But I one time I would like to just go to the back when the sound might be better, because it's mostly because of the sound, like having a huge amp in front of you.
I think, was it Ryan? Ryan talked about that. Ryan Mears, where he mentioned that he'd been up front for a couple of things, and then as he saw a few shows, he began experimenting with where to stand. And I think he mentioned at one point he was sitting sort of up in the VIP section in a seat. Having a beer, watching the show. To me, that's the ultimate. Like sitting in a seat with a beer, being able to watch the show, and maybe having a conversation with the person across from you, going, "What do you have? These guys are great." But I don't need that sort of energy of all the people around. But some people love that. That's why they go to shows, And
I really like the energy. I was at that show when Ryan was actually at the first floor, sitting on the couch or something, and I saw him by far when I was in front of the rail. But I really like the energy and being very close to the band and enjoying those moments with the band. But I really should try to go back sometimes and see if the sound is better, because most of the time I'm just destroying my ears. That's what I'm doing.
Exactly, and that's the thing. Like you, I love the fact that Ryan got the chance to experiment with that, or he chose to, and he's a musician himself, so he knows that when he's standing in certain spots, the sound isn't that good. And we all know, like anybody who's been to a concert, or if you understand, like I've done a lot of theater stuff, the acoustics of a room in the building, it changes when people are in it, and if there's poles there and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you're standing in a certain spot and you go, I love this band. This sounds sucks. Like it's really funny, or you don't hear something, or it's not mixed really well. So you move somewhere else. And the fact that he can move around and experiment with where it sounded best in this venue is the neat thing, because as you mentioned, they're going to change. The sound of the band is going to change every venue they go into. Kind of thing.
Exactly.
To be honest with you, I thought the worst venue that they were going to play was the one where they played in the mall.
Oh yeah.
And and it turns out, from what I understand from people who were there, that was actually one of their better sounding places because the sound just went.
Yeah.
And it didn't bounce back. It went up and out, and there was no sort of. That's one of the things that you have to deal with in an auditorium, is the bounce back from the walls, so you really have to mix that out. And for some reason, where they were in this mall, everything just went. The sound was actually pretty good, no matter where you stood, because there was nothing bouncing the sound back.
Yeah,
the band.
I remember during the Homogenate time, when Miku was speaking, she could hear her own echo.
Yeah. Did she comment on it, or did she?
It was the moment when she was sulking because the audience was not screaming that loud enough. She said, "I want to hear big voice." Wow, 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 wow. She heard her own echo.
Oh, that's what she went. Yeah. That's what she went.
Yeah, exactly that. That's because of that.
Okay, that makes so much more sense. It makes me want to see this band even more.
Yeah, let's hurry up for a concert, a tour next year. Hopefully, yeah. All right.
Already.
Last part of the podcast, we have some questions from the community. Some messages and some questions. So I ranked them into the order that I think would be the best. And we have a first question from RA57727 for Casper. When did you discover BAND-MAID, and what song brought you to that discovery?
I discovered BAND-MAID. I was at a particularly, it was during COVID, and I was at a particularly low point in my life. I think everybody, because as a voiceover, there wasn't a lot of stuff going on in the world, and you weren't seeing family, and everyone, everyone was sitting by themselves in their houses, and I saw Thrill was the first one I saw, and I remember thinking, this is really cool. It was very surprising. But then I fell down a BAND-MAID rabbit hole, which was really, really cool. I saw Thrill, then I saw the video for Real Existence.
Okay.
Then I saw a reactor to Domination. And then I saw a reactor doing Freedom. And so December 2020, watching the live version of Freedom with Akane's drum solo, her smile sucked me right in. I went, I want to get to know. So what ended up happening after that was I didn't necessarily listen to more songs after that.
Yeah.
I began researching the band. I began finding out, who are these girls? And I fell into like the interviews, like the Gold Rush interview and all this stuff. And then I went, I really want to get to know. So I fell more in love with the band themselves rather than the music right away. But Freedom Live definitely was the one. Every time I hear it, that was the song that went, this is the band that I want to get to know. And it turns out that they just seem to be in that video. All five of them were having such a good time that it brought me out of my funk in a way. It made me feel better, and I went, if this band makes me feel better, I want to keep listening to them because they'll keep making me feel better, and they do. That's the thing. Every album, every time they come out with a new song, and every interview they do, every Homogenai time, there's always something goofy going on with them. Then I knew nothing about the Saiki Konami thing. I knew nothing about Homogenai times. I knew nothing about the funny faces from Akane. All I saw was 5 very talented, lovely ladies having an insanely good time, and they all seem to gel together. So Freedom Live is the one.
All right. That's also answer the question from Doc Loco asking if you knew BAND-MAID before working with me, which is the case.
I did, yeah.
And what was your first impression, and how did it evolve with the time?
Well, yeah. My first impression of BAND-MAID was when I saw Thrill, I thought I wasn't really into Japanese music at the time. I'd watched my fair share of anime, but I had this sort of misconception that Japanese music sounded the same. And actually, there are actually essays done on. There are certain chords that you will hear in Japanese music that you don't hear in other types of music. Certain chord progressions that you go, oh, that's an anime song. It's an anime song because it's just the way. And BAND-MAID, the first time I saw them, I went, what? But as I said, and then after I read all the interviews, and I went, these ladies, this is really interesting. And then you see the one where they're in that bar. What is it? The Devil's.
Devil's something. Yeah.
Yeah, those interviews also, the Gold Rush in that one, where you see them being themselves, where you see little parts of. There are certain bands when they do interviews, they're still putting on they don't do interviews really well. The girls also don't really do interviews really well because most of them are shy. Like particularly early on, they were very shy.
Yeah.
And except for Miku.
Yeah.
And Konami was like in that interview. It was so funny because she was just like off with the fairy. She was just way off. And then they would ask her a question, and they would just, if they let her talk, immediately we were like, okay. It's like I have no idea what you're talking about, but which is so funny. I just fell in love with them, and the fact that they're exceptionally good musicians, and I sort of was a musician when I was younger. I went, this is amazing. What they're doing is just amazing, and so I fell down that BAND-MAID rabbit hole, and I just haven't been able to climb out. And I don't really want to. I think every time they do something, it's something new. Every new album, they do something. And then the other thing about BAND-MAID, which is the fans. When I signed up to your Discord and then you'd see the fans logging in to watch your videos, or even BAND-MAID's releasing a new video, and the fans come out and stuff, absolutely amazing. I'd never seen that before. So what a great group to hang around with.
Yeah, and they are talking like all the time, night and day, from so many different countries. So that's really great, really, really great. Next question from Xdemonius. Thank you both for creating my amazing videos on Orange's channel. So you are very welcome.
Very much so.
And question for you, Casper. Have you been involved in similar videos in other YouTube channels? And can we hear you somewhere else besides TV?
I've not similar videos. There's been no other channel where they've wanted me to do. Like BAND-MAID stuff or fan stuff. There's a couple things where I've mentioned to some people that I'm happy to help you. Like this is your job, so you kind of have to be careful about doing a lot of things. But one of the things I do is I get asked every so often to do trailers, movie trailers, like parody trailers. If you Google Acolyte Grindhouse, which is basically these guys put together a parody of the Star Wars Acolyte thing. Yeah. They wanted like a Vincent Price old style horror voice, and they turned the Acolyte into a horror film. I had so much. I do a lot of stuff like that. if you live in the United States or Canada, you can catch me on the Discovery Channel. I narrate a show called Mysteries of the Abandoned, and it's spin-off Hidden America. We're in our 10th season now, I think. Even here in the UK, I've never seen an episode because I can't get it unless I've got a VPN and all this kind of things. But I've been doing that for quite a while. It's one of their top-rated shows. I guess they like it. So you can catch me doing that. And that's mainly the videos I do on other channels. But I'll do. I get asked to do David Attenborough a lot, the guy who does the Blue Planet.
Yeah.
So I'll have a lot of people who will be like, if I was to ask that question, it'd be like, "So, Casper, have you been involved in similar videos on other YouTube channels?" Yeah, the Blue Planet. So I do that a lot, and it must be the beard. It must be the beard. I don't know. So I'm out there. There's a lot of student films that have me narrating Blue Planet stuff. I also get asked to do Morgan Freeman all the time, so there's videos out there of me and Morgan. I can't even remember some of them, but I hope that answers your question. So I'm trying to upload as much stuff as I can to my YouTube channel. There are some things up there right now. Hopefully there'll be some more.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the description.
But
so
if you just Google my name, it comes up quite a bit of stuff. So
yes, perfect. Next question from Scorpius17. My question is, what are both you and Casper's personal favorite album and why?
You want to go first?
No, I'll let you go first.
It's gonna be a bit of a cop out, but my favorite album right now is the latest one, Epic Narratives, because it's they seem to have incorporated a lot of. There's a lot of learning that went on with this album. I think they've incorporated the way the writing is done, the way the songs are all done. There's something for everybody, and there isn't. When you listen to that one album, there's that song you went, yeah, that's okay. I haven't found that song. Like there's always that one song on every album where you kind of go, that's okay, and as a fan, there's so many songs that they write, you can't like them all. But BAND-MAID, you like them all. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so, but this album, right from the top, they rocked it out really good. And every single song, they did a really good job of titling it Epic Narratives, because every single song tells a story. I also like the fact that they're giving Saiki more writing stuff to do. And it's not like they're giving Miku less stuff to do. She's always been fantastic with this, but right now it's Epic Narratives for me, and for the simple reason that I like every song on the album.
All right, and for me it will be Epic Narratives as well. My previous favorite album was Just Bring It, because I love so many songs on this album, and I couldn't get enough of Don't You Tell Me, of Puzzle, of Secret My Lips, of YOLO. So many great songs of this album. But after my first listen of Epic Narratives and continuing to listen to the songs for these past weeks, I think that I've never felt that much while listening to music, while listening to the songs. And yeah, that's really something.
Yeah, I think for me, I think if I had to go back to a previous, my previous one was their little solo project they did with BAND-MAID.
Oh, BAND-MAID, yeah.
Just because it was, you go, who does this? Like, what band does this? Like, again, like they did the same thing with their acoustics, what we talked about. But who takes their songs and rewrites them?
Nobody.
And they put dressing up as a geisha is not easy, from what I understand. And so the fact that they did these songs, and they were, and Gyeonsho is such a beautiful
Gyeonsho is amazing.
And but also what they did to Secret My Lips was like, you just kind of went, wow. And so that was my favorite sort of BAND-MAID thing, like a mini album, I guess if you call it, because it just stood out so much as this is a band that likes to have fun. They care about their fans, and they don't really like they committed to that. It was supposed to be an April Fool's joke. They committed to that 100%, and ended up putting out another song for it. So they're singing in the the Kansai dialect and all this stuff. They did so many details.
So committed.
And I'd love to hear who the other musicians were in that, or see. I'd have to look that up a bit more, like the ones who were playing like the authentic.
Oh, it was just programmed by Konami.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's just Konami.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah,
that's why.
Next question from Quadmaster Veteran. Out of the BAND-MAID member documentaries that you worked on, which band member were you most interested in learning more about and why?
That is such a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, again, because like Lisa, I wanted to learn more about Lisa because she seemed to be the one that we knew the least about.
Yeah, that's true.
It was we all, they all make fun of her, or not? Yeah, the drinking thing, but she's. Surprising, I think it's Miku who's the one who drinks the most of the bunch. I always thought that Konami didn't drink, but it turns out she does. She just doesn't drink often because she's so tired. By the end of the night, she doesn't drink with the rest of the group. And then I think the one I wanted to hear the most about, though, was Miku. I wanted to know how she comes up with the ideas for her lyric, and how. And I also heard that you pick it up from some of the other documentaries. She's very much a loner. Like, so she'll just disappear when they go away on trips. She's gone. Like when they went to, I think they went to, was it somewhere? Yeah, it was when they went to New York. And Saiki talks about Saiki and Miku going to New York. And Saiki was in recording, and Miku just buggered off because she wanted to go to Tiffany's. So she just disappears in New York by herself, not with like a handler, or not even a handler, but like somebody to go with her.
Yeah,
she just went, I want to go to Tiffany's, and shoot, off she's gone. So Saiki comes out and goes, what? Where did you? And she, I guess she does that all the time, and that's an upbringing thing. That's like where like if you're so used to doing things on your own and by yourself. There are certain habits that are really hard to break, So, but her problem, I guess, was she has a habit of buggering off without telling people, and so I think there's so much about her. Like when you see her things, like when you're shooting those airsoft guns, and she's really good at it, or how even the adapting the pose, like this is somebody who commits 100% to what she's doing, because the first time somebody told me that was annoying, I would have stopped doing it. And what she did was she hoed her way through everybody like that. So now they're just used to it. Yeah. So now it's not annoying to them anymore. In fact, you're at a point now where I think one of the members commented, when she doesn't do it, we notice.
Yeah.
And you go, oh. And so she just kind of kept going with her thing. She chose she was going to do this thing, and it's kind of cute and it's wacky. And the people who experience BAND-MAID for the first time go, "What is that?" But if you don't know like Japanese culture or anything like that, then you kind of miss what she's doing. It would be like somebody talking in an accent in a way. It's what when she puts po at the end of it. She's pretending she's a bird kind of thing. So there's an accent. Miku is the one I wanted to know, because this is somebody who commits to everything she's doing 100%. And she did it at the Maid Cafe. She did it when she was worked in the noodle cafe. All the little things that you do. And this is someone who found her BAND-MAID. I mean, there must have been something about this little girl with the wide shoulders that when she went to Platinum Passport, where they said, we're going to give you your opportunity. Who gets that? Like, what vibe did she give off?
Yeah.
That where they were going to trust? And at the time, she would have been what? 17? Maybe 18? Like when they...
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but she would have been in that. She's under 20 at this point.
Yeah.
And she comes and she has this idea, and they go run with it. What energy do you have that says I can do this? And so you have the powers of ego. Okay, go ahead. And so she did it. And so she went out and she found Konami, and then from there the landslide started. So that's why I really wanted to know about Miku, because she was like, what does this little pigeon have that I guess you have to meet her, I suppose, in person to go, okay, that's what you have. but you see it in the interviews, when you like the Gold Rush interview in particular, how she just kind of took that over, where she's the natural center. She sort of stormed over the interviewers in a way, and convincing everyone that Nisa's outfit was an assassin outfit at that interview kind of thing. And you like, everything was so, I'm like, I want to know this person.
Yeah, that's always interesting to know how a band has been formed, and especially from the point of view of the founder of the band.
Not just that, how it was formed, but how it stays together.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the craziest part.
That is the crazy part, and how they all kind of just clicked, and how they sort of became the best of friends.
Yeah.
Hopefully they still are. They seem like they are.
I'm pretty sure they are.
And it's just one of these things it's very, sadly, in this industry, the music industry, it's very rare for that to happen, where usually there's personality conflicts somewhere in the band.
Yeah.
These ladies, they don't see. Now, I'm not saying that, like, who was it? Was it the first time that they made Konami cry?
Oh, yeah.
That...
the first rehearsals.
Not the first time, but the time they did.
Yeah.
And the time that they talk about, and how they went, we won't ever do that again. And it's obviously they don't. Because they wanted to know that they were in a serious band. This would have been very early on, So again, they're you've got some under 20s who are, just goofing around, not thinking that much of it, and not realizing that there's at least one member of the group, possibly two, Miku and Konami, who were like, this is a thing. Let's make this thing work.
Yeah.
And both Akane and Nisa had actually come off of different relationships from that. Like, they've been in bands that had fallen apart, and so they were coming at it from a totally different angle, and they got schooled very quickly. And that's the thing about if you can learn to adjust, and they did. It seems like that there's been no hard feelings about that at all, and it also tells them that you had people committed right from the start, which is a tribute to Miku. She grabbed somebody, and it's why you want to get to know these band members. So that's why that question is really hard, because you actually want to know about the story about how all five of these girls.
Yeah.
But for me, it was Miku. I wanted to know what strange magic she had. It was the Imaginata magic, obviously. Moi Moi QQ, but she had some type of magic that she convinced adults in the business world to go with her crazy plan. And it would have been a crazy plan. Maid's playing hard rock music.
Yeah, and it worked in the end.
It very much did work. They didn't think it would, but they made it work.
Yeah.
And that's power to all five of them.
Exactly. I will let you read the last message that we received. It's not a question, it's more of a statement.
Sure, okay.
Go for it.
This says, BAND-MAID, Saiki-san, Mika-san, Misa-san, Akane-san, Miku-san, and Konami-san are one of the reasons I'm still alive. The love they have for their fans make me feel not alone during hard times, and are helping me to keep going every day, even if I'm alone and everyone around me keeps passing. I've been pursuing a degree in my dream uni because of the inspiration I garner from their hard work and passion, so thank you, BAND-MAID. Very much so. Actually, I agree with that statement. That's, as I was saying, when I first discovered BAND-MAID, I was sort of at a low point in my life, and it just seemed like you have these five crazy girls, really, who had a dream. And did we think this dream would go now? Did I look back, when I first discovered them and realized they had they talk about world domination, it was a bit of a joke.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with this person's statement where these girls inspire you to be. They inspire me to be a better person in a way. I look at what they do and what they write and how they care about their fans. And when they're writing their songs, when they wrote like About Me and Memorable and stuff, like About Me, Saiki's message that she, in many ways, that encompassed BAND-MAID for me at the time, where she gave that, because she, and also it was the first time where Saiki stepped forward and spoke from her heart, because normally you just heard her singing, and she was just very shy in interviews and she didn't talk much. And for me, at that moment, she spoke for the band. And so when you have the band, like, they come up with this album, they did like the triumphant moment where they're standing at Yokohama Arena and they're like, you think about their first show at the A and how, they couldn't get 50 people to come. And there they are standing on stage. It tells you they really show that with a bit of commitment, but also friends, if you share a dream, it's easier to accomplish, but also that they show that if you keep pushing at it, like they obviously didn't have it easy.
Yeah.
And where they are now to where they were is just amazing. And that's why, when you see epic narratives come out now and you go, you look at their first stuff where people were writing things for them, and you look at where they are now, where they're telling their own stories, and they've got stories to tell. That's the cool part about epic narratives, is it's not just a made-up album where this album is about this story, this album is about this story, or this song is about this story. This song is about this event that happened to BAND-MAID here, and this song is about here. Forbidden Tales is about this here. That's the cool thing about where this is now. So I totally agree with that statement. Good sir. Yeah, I think BAND-MAID is an inspiration to a lot of the fans.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that I saw this kind of message a lot already. People discovering them during COVID, not feeling well, and listening to the music and diving into the songs.
They're a band that it's very hard not to feel good when you're listening to BAND-MAID, when you're following them, particularly when you get caught up in the sort of the wave with the fans. Like when there's a new release or something coming out and you just see the stuff, and then there's that moment when the band members join the chat, and of course you can't read the chat.
Yeah,
although
you can read. Yeah.
You mentioned there's somebody had a screenshot of when they released Forbidden Tales.
Yeah, of Kanami saying, Saiki is cute, isn't she?
She so cute. And she said it in English or something?
Yeah, it was in English, yeah.
Man, so the fact that all of a sudden the band joins, and there's this feeling of excitement. It's sort of like they're here with us to watch this, and they're honestly there because they want to know your reactions. And the chat's going by so fast as the things go on, but they could look at it later. But I think they get the idea that their fans like what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that we get the idea that they like what they're doing. so that makes it easier. Like this band is constantly surprising me anyway, and I just love their stuff. I mean, I feel bad that I want to buy all the merch. I want to buy all the albums. I only own 3 albums, and those were like sort of gifts to myself. I've got like a Budokan poster and a T-shirt, and a mug. I got a coffee mug. Oh, actually, I have a Saiki beer mug. So which cost way too much.
Way too much.
because they caught it at customs, and then I ordered the mug and the cup at the same time, and they doubled the price on it. So this mug ended up costing me like I think it's a 75-pound beer mug. But you know what? I still have it. It's all good. And so I'd love to buy more merch. I know there's people out there who, the thing about BAND-MAID is they seem to make it accessible no matter your your how much money you have or
Yeah.
where you live.
Yeah.
You can still find BAND-MAID stuff, and if you're one of those people that need to have like merch and things, well, this is life, isn't it? This is the world, and some people are going to have more. Now that's the other thing. I mean, when you have a fan base of which also makes you feel really good, who hand out gifts to maybe fans who didn't get a chance to see a show, or let's do this, or they'll offer up like a Zoom ticket or something, and you're like, this is just really cool. Who does this? So or the amount of work that the guys at like M&M will put in for like the towels and the thing for during the tour. That was really cool. I don't know many fan bases that do that, and so not just the band makes you feel good, but also the Maniacs in general. The way that we talk about the band, the way that I know nobody that badmouths BAND-MAID. I've never heard anybody say, I don't know, they kind of suck. I've never heard that. I might hear, I don't really listen to them, or they're not my music, but I've never heard, like some of the stuff and they just, how can you talk bad about these 5 girls? You just can't. And so they're here they're shining a light in the world. And if you see it, it's very hard to look away. This new album is fantastic, and I'm very happy. I'm a BAND-MAID fan.
Me too. I think I'm very proud. Even very proud.
Yeah, and I think I'm very lucky that of all because there's so many bands and stuff coming. Now, one of the things that BAND-MAID has also done is they've opened up my eyes to other Japanese music, and I'm finding, like with Neki, and there's a couple other groups. Is it Haku? I think it's Haku Circle. I think they're called. They're new, and even like I'm reintroducing myself to like Maximum the Hormone and all this stuff because of Connie's interest and stuff, and you just find that there's the world is so much bigger, and so there's other music out there that's really cool, and there's other bands, there's other talented musicians out there who are probably taking a lot, particularly in Japan, taking a lot of inspiration from BAND-MAID. I can see, you've got bands like BAND-MAID and Love Bites and all these who, very talented groups of women. Yeah. And I think that's, there's a lot of very, like I showed you that, Yoyoka the drummer and her clip the other day where she started a new band. With kids. And she's the oldest. She's 14. And they're doing that, that cover, and you're like, Heart. They're doing Barracuda. Who does that? Nobody. The thing was, when you were a cover band, there were certain bands you never touched. Journey, Toto, and Heart. Because nobody could do it. Nobody could sing like them. Nobody could play the instruments like them. You were not going to sound like them. Don't touch them. You're allowed to do anything else you hear on the radio. Do as much Billy Idol as you want, all that kind of stuff. But don't touch these bands. And then they are just doing Barracuda. You got this little girl playing bass. The bass is taller than she is, and you're like, to me, I look at that and I go, you were inspired by BAND-MAID. Or just because when BAND-MAID started, they were quite young. Yeah. We forget that. We forget. And they've matured well. They've actually, in the way they've done it, I think it's because we've been with them for such a while, or we've been following them, but they don't look like they've aged at all. They seem like they've become more mature. They've definitely become more mature, but they don't look like they've aged. They handle themselves much better. They are very professional, but they still goof around. Oh yeah, they know when to have fun, and they know when to kick, and that's one of the things. Just one of the things I love about this band. One of many things. I'm very lucky, and also very proud of them, and I love talking about BAND-MAID to people who don't know them. I love to introduce them. Again, music is hard to convince someone to like. So this is, I think, with Epic Narratives, this is a much easier album just to listen to the album. You'll find that. Whereas some of the other albums you had to kind of convince, just listen to this song. Like
Unseen World is not easy to get someone to listening to all.
Because the songs are a bit different, but there's some great songs on Unseen World, fantastic songs. But Epic Narratives, you kind of go, there's a song for you on it, just listen. Yeah. And so you don't need to tell them what to listen to. And In fact, some of them they've probably heard already because they've seen the video if they're into anime or something. But there's so many different styles. And Forbidden Tale, going full circle right back to what we were talking about earlier, is the type of song where, because there's so many different genres on it, I'll go, if you want to hear, if you like BAND-MAID, listen to Forbidden Tale.
Yeah, exactly.
And Forbidden Tale will tell you what they can do.
Yeah.
And what you're going to hear when you listen to BAND-MAID, because they touch. This is the first time I've heard BAND-MAID play jazz, other than there's hints of it in Manners, hints of jazz in Manners, but not jazz. Manners was more R&B in a way, but this was the first time where it was like, yeah, and you kind of went, you know, it just the fact that they did it so easy tells you that maybe something else is coming. Can you imagine a jazz version of one of their songs? They could
just one song.
just one song, just anything. But it tells you that what they were basically saying was, we can do it. But the other thing is, for a new listener, you just go, this is what they can do, and it gives you so many different genres and so many things that they can. Somebody will listen to that and go, okay, yeah, I can find something I like with that. This is really good. And then on that album, there's a song that goes with each section on that album, epic narratives, that ties into there, which is the other thing they did was really well. You can, like Bestie fits in there. There's a certain part there that's the one. There's a certain part there that's Maji. Just the way that they've done it, and that's why BAND-MAID is awesome. You can't. Yeah,
well, I think that's a great conclusion, saying that BAND-MAID is awesome. I think that we could not end this podcast with a better say.
For anybody, this is one thing. It's an ironic statement, but I mean, anybody who hasn't found them should find them as soon as they can.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's no one out there who I can't think of a band out there that is going to make you smile and lighten your day faster than BAND-MAID.
And it's a good time to discover them, because they might tour all over the world next year. So we might
very much so.
Them.
Yeah. So this is a good, very, very, very good. So that you don't feel like you're jumping on the bandwagon.
Exactly. Like we did during COVID.
You can say, I've been a fan since last year.
Exactly. Well, I think it's time to end this podcast.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Casper, for joining me for this first episode. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it works. I have for you all, I have a lot of idea for future guests.
And you have a lot of editing to do.
And I have a lot of editing to do. That will be the fun part.
Yeah, but the one thing is, it's something you're very good at. That's why you should make the videos.
I don't know about that. I hope so. I hope so. Thank you
for
very much.
The invitation. This was a great.
It was really great. I don't know if I was the host or if you were the host for this one, but because you talk so much. But it's great, so I don't have to talk. We are just like Kanami and Saiki. I'm Kanami, you're Saiki. You're singing, I don't want to sing. Let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I'm with you.
Thank you very much, Casper. We are going to wrap up for this episode. Have a nice day, everyone. Have a nice day, Mr. Kasper Michaels. And I'll see you when the next video will pop out.
Konnichiwa.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.